Hey everyone, and welcome back to KenkoVibe, your daily dose of health insights. I'm Ethan Reed, and I'm pumped for today's deep dive. We're tackling a topic that I think a lot of us get kind of confused about.
I'm Grace Morgan, and yeah, this is a big one. We're going to be talking about the difference between weight loss and fat loss.
And that number on the scale,
hmm
it can be a bit deceiving, right?
It really can. Because losing weight doesn't automatically mean you're losing the right kind of weight. You could be losing water weight,
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
or even muscle mass, or bone density, and those are things you really want to hold on to.
So how do we make sure we're losing fat and not those important things?
So fat loss is all about targeting the actual fat stored in your body.
Okay, so it's more specific.
Right. And that's important because all that other stuff, your lean body mass, like your organs, bones, muscles, even water, that keeps you healthy and strong.
So it sounds like body composition is the real key here, not just what the scale says.
Exactly. It's about understanding what makes up your weight. So you have fat mass, which is basically, the weight of all the fat in your body. And then you have lean body mass, which is, well, everything else.
Okay, makes sense. But what about this water weight thing? I hear people talking about that all the time.
Water weight. Yeah. Water actually makes up a pretty large percentage of our body weight, but that doesn't mean you should, restrict your water intake. Actually, staying hydrated is really important.
Oh, interesting. So it's not about, like, cutting back on water.
Nope, it's usually excess sodium that's the culprit. Too much salt can make your body hold on to water.
Ah, I see. So it can make you feel kind of bloated and temporarily heavier.
Exactly.
So it seems like the scale can be kind of misleading then.
Yeah.
How do we accurately measure fat loss if the scale isn't always reliable?
There are a few different methods. They all have their pros and cons, but they can be helpful tools. So there are body fat scales.
Okay, I've seen those.
They use bioelectrical impedance. Basically, they send a really low electrical current through your body.
Wait, a current? Like electricity?
Yeah, but it's super low. And basically, that current travels differently through fat mass versus lean mass. And by measuring the resistance, it can estimate your body fat percentage. But it's important to keep in mind that things like hydration levels can affect the readings.
Okay, so those are the body fat scales. What else is there?
Another common tool is calipers. They measure the thickness of skin folds at different points on your body. So they basically pinch the skin, measure the fat layer beneath it, and use that to give you an estimate of your body fat percentage.
And what about just using a regular tape measure to measure your waist? I've heard that's a good way to, get an idea of belly fat.
Oh, absolutely. Waist circumference is actually a great indicator of visceral fat. That's the fat that's around your organs. And it can be especially harmful to your health.
So it's like a built-in warning system right
Mm.
there on our bodies.
Yeah, kinda. It's a good one to keep an eye on for sure. But remember, no single method is perfect on its own. It's all about looking at the bigger picture, tracking changes over time.
Makes sense. So we've established that focusing on fat loss, not just weight loss, and preserving muscle is important. But how do we actually do that?
Well, strength training is your best friend when it comes to keeping that muscle while you're losing fat. Hitting the weights, those are essential.
So we got to hit the gym.
Exactly. But diet is just as crucial. And when it comes to diet, protein is really important.
Okay, protein. Why is that so important?
Protein is what your body needs to build and repair tissue, including muscle tissue. So when you're losing fat, you want to make sure you're getting enough protein to protect that muscle.
It's like fuel for your muscles.
Yeah, you could say that. And studies have actually shown that a higher protein intake might even help you lose more fat and lose less muscle.
Interesting. What about those popular diets we hear about all the time, like low carb or keto? Are those good for fat loss?
Those diets can definitely lead to weight loss, but they can also sometimes cause you to lose lean body mass too, including muscle.
Oh, okay. So it's not always about the fastest results. It's about, finding a sustainable approach that keeps those muscles strong.
Right. It's about finding a balance and making sure you're not accidentally sacrificing your muscle in the process.
Makes sense. Now, are there any supplements that can help with this whole fat loss and muscle preservation thing?
There are some that have shown potential. Chromium picolinate and green tea catechin, for example, have been studied for their potential to help preserve lean mass during fat loss.
Okay, that's good to know.
But remember, supplements shouldn't be a substitute for a healthy diet and exercise.
Right, it's got to be part of the bigger picture.
And always talk to your doctor or healthcare provider before starting any new supplements, just to be safe.
Absolutely good advice. Now, I'm curious about older adults. Does this whole fat loss and muscle thing change as we get older?
It definitely can. As we age, our bodies naturally start to increase body fat and lose lean mass and bone density.
Hmm, that makes sense.
And this can lead to something called sarcopenia.
Sarcopenia. I'm not familiar with that.
Sarcopenia is basically age-related muscle loss. It's a normal part of aging, but it can have some serious health consequences. It can increase your risk of falls or fractures, and it can even impact your overall mobility and independence.
Wow, that sounds pretty serious.
Yeah.
So what can older adults do to fight back against this sarcopenia?
Strength training is key. If you can do muscle strengthening exercises at least twice a week, that can make a huge difference in preserving muscle mass and strength.
So those gym sessions get even more important as we age.
Exactly. And of course, nutrition plays a big role too, making sure you're getting enough protein to support muscle growth and repair.
So we've covered a lot here, from the science behind fat loss versus weight loss, how our bodies change as we age, even the link between hydration and muscle health. What would you say is the most important thing for our listeners to remember?
I think the biggest takeaway is don't obsess over the number on the scale. It's really about understanding what makes up your weight, focusing on losing fat while keeping that muscle, and building healthy habits that support your overall well-being at every age.
Great advice. This has been a really eye-opening discussion. We'll be right back after a quick message. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to KenkoVibe. We've been talking about this whole weight loss versus fat loss thing and why understanding that difference is so important for your health, especially as we get older.
And before the break, we were discussing sarcopenia, that age-related muscle loss we talked about, and how strength training can really help combat it.
Yeah, strength training is super important, but maintaining a healthy body fat percentage is also really important for muscle health as we age.
Oh, really? I always thought body fat was just, bad, like something we want to get rid of completely. How does that affect our muscles?
Well, think about it this way. When you have too much body fat, it can actually increase inflammation in your body.
Inflammation. We hear that word a lot, but what does it actually mean when we're talking about, like, our muscles?
Inflammation is basically your body's natural response to injury or irritation. But when it's chronic, meaning it's happening all the time, it can actually start to damage healthy tissues, including muscle.
So too much body fat equals more inflammation, which then can harm our muscles.
Exactly. It's like a double whammy. Aging already makes us more prone to losing muscle, and then having excess body fat just speeds up that process.
Okay, that makes sense. It really shows how important it is to look at our health holistically, especially as we age.
Absolutely. It's not just about losing weight to look good. It's about making choices that will keep you moving well, keep your metabolism running smoothly, and just feeling good overall as you get older.
Yeah, making those healthy choices. I bet all those everyday habits we talk about on the show play a role here, too.
Oh, for sure. Things like regular exercise, making sure you're eating a balanced diet with enough protein, managing your stress levels, all of those contribute to healthy aging and help preserve that muscle mass.
We also talk a lot about sleep on this podcast. Does sleep quality have anything to do with muscle health?
Absolutely. Sleep is like, repair time for your body. It's when everything kind of resets. And it's during sleep that our muscles actually rebuild and recover from everything we've done during the day.
So if we don't get enough sleep, our muscles don't get enough time to recover.
Right. You're basically shortchanging your muscles of that crucial recovery time.
Makes sense. If our bodies aren't getting a chance to repair and rebuild, it's no wonder we might experience muscle loss or feel weaker.
And here's another interesting tidbit. Staying hydrated actually plays a role in muscle health, too.
Really?
Yeah.
I usually associate hydration with, like weight management and digestion. What's the connection with muscles?
Well, water is essential for like pretty much everything in your body. And when it comes to muscles specifically, water is what transports nutrients to the muscle cells and helps remove waste products. So it basically keeps everything running smoothly. And when you're dehydrated, your muscles just can't function at their best.
Huh, I had no idea. So even being a little dehydrated can impact our muscles.
Yeah, it's like you're depriving your muscles of the things they need to work properly. So staying well hydrated is not just about quenching your thirst, it's about supporting your muscles too.
Wow. Our bodies are so complex. I learn new things every day.
It is amazing when you think about it. And that's what makes learning about health and wellness so fascinating. There's always something new to discover.
This has been a really eye-opening conversation. We've talked about the science behind weight loss versus fat loss, the changes our bodies go through as we age, and even the connection between hydration and muscle health. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up this deep dive?
I think the key takeaway is this. It's not just about the number on the scale. It's about understanding your body, prioritizing fat loss while preserving muscle, and creating healthy habits that support you no matter how old you are.
That's a great way to put it. We'll be back in a jiffy with a final thought for you to ponder. Don't go anywhere.
And we're back for the final stretch of our KenkoVibe deep dive. Today, we've been uncovering the truth about weight loss versus fat loss, and I gotta say, this has been one of my favorite deep dives in a while.
Yeah, this has been a good one. We really dug deep into the science and how important it is to understand body composition and how much muscle plays a role in overall health, especially as we get older.
And I love that we even talked about how staying hydrated can actually help keep your muscles healthy. I never realized that something as simple as drinking enough water could have such a big impact.
It's a good reminder that those small, everyday choices can really make a difference.
Definitely. So before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with a little something to think about. We've talked a lot about the physical side of losing fat and keeping muscle, but I think it's important to remember the mental and emotional side of it too. Oh, absolutely. Our mindset is so powerful and it can really influence how we approach our health goals. So here's a question for you. How can you build a more positive and empowering relationship with your body during this whole process?
That's a great question. It's so easy to get caught up in chasing a certain number on the scale or trying to fit into a certain size. But health is so much bigger than that.
For sure. It's about appreciating what your body can do, treating it well, and focusing on its strength.
I love that. So as you're working towards your health goals, remember to be kind to yourself, enjoy the journey, and focus on building that positive relationship with your body.
And remember, every step you take towards a healthier lifestyle is a win.
Well said. This has been KenkoVibe, your daily dose of health insights. I'm Ethan Reed.
And I'm Grace Morgan.
Thanks for joining us. If you like this deep dive, hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. We love hearing from you. And don't forget to share it with anyone who might find it helpful. We'll see you back here tomorrow for more health and wellness tips. Until then, stay well.